Hi everybody, welcome back. It's me, Teresa Perrin, and I want to discuss AVCT with you, break down the new filing, and also discuss what I'm seeing on FinTel that's not adding up with what we're seeing in the chart. As well as I want to bring up again the amount of trades that are going to the dark pool. Anyways, let's get started. Please remember, nothing I say is financial advice, and always do your own DD. Please comment below with a heart if you are still holding AVCT. All right, guys, so an 8K did drop after hours today, and I'm just going to break it down for you. This, of course, is the first page, which really doesn't tell us anything. I always get asked what this AVCT and AVCTW is. And guys, that par value and all of that has nothing to do with what's being discussed in this filing. That's just talking about the warrants and the fact of what the exercise price is regarding them. So that has nothing to do, again, with what we're going to be discussing right now. So there's a couple things that I want to bring to your attention. Number one, this would be the fact that this is the 8K that I have been waiting for, and it actually covered two things in one. First, this is letting us know that AVCT finished the securities purchase agreement that was dated on October 18th between the company and two institutional accredited investors, as described in the current 8K filed by the company on October 18th. So it's just telling you that they completed it, right? At the closing, the company issued to the purchaser, in addition to an aggregate of 5 million shares of the common stock, an additional 10,000 warrants that cannot be exercised for 45 days, right? And they will expire in 2 years from the date of issuance. And the exercise price of those warrants is $1.80. And again, those 5 million shares that were purchased cost them $2 per share, guys. And that included one share and 2 warrants per unit, right? That they paid the $2 for, but they have to pay if they want to exercise those warrants, $1.80. Now, just a reminder that they cannot exercise those warrants again for 45 days, and the company cannot issue any new shares or warrants, and they are locked out of selling their own shares and warrants for 90 days, guys. So there will be no additional offerings or dilution for a minimum of 90 days. That is bullish for us, okay? That means that if we start running, they can't drop an offering on us. So, yay to that. Now, if we start running in the next 45 days, even more bullish for us, because guess what? They can't exercise those warrants in that time either, so it won't dilute that way. So now's the time we want to see this thing start to run. And most importantly, they announced that on October 18th, the company received a letter from the NASDAQ listing qualifications stating that because the company's shares had a closing bid at or above $1 per share for a minimum of 10 consecutive business days, the company's stock has regained compliance with the minimum bid price requirement of $1 per share and will be continued to be listing on the NASDAQ capital market. So guys, we're now in NASDAQ compliance for that $1 minimum bid price. So that's the other bullish announcement that I was waiting for. So there's two things in this filing that are very bullish. I would like to see AVCT rocket tomorrow. Now let's take a look at what else is going on. Number one, the dark pool trades today were absolutely freaking unacceptable. 80% of all shares traded today were in the dark pool. If you were on the space call earlier, I really got into detail about this, guys. Perhaps I'll make another video at some point. In fact, I did do one on dark pool that you can go back and find. But I'd like to do maybe an updated one over the weekend when I have more time. Guys, this disgusts me to no avail, and I'm not surprised because it's Susquehanna. There is no doubt in my mind they knew this 8K was coming today, and they proceeded to try to fill shares that they needed to cover for FTDs or whatever else the case may be at a cheap price. You'll also notice that you don't see anywhere on the securities the fact that this 8K is dropped. You don't see any bullish articles written saying, that the AVCT has regained NASDAQ compliance for minimum bid price. You don't see anything, right? Why is that, guys? Because they don't want this news out there. They're still trying to accumulate at a cheap price, probably for the failure to delivers that they had when this ran up, which we will not know again until towards the end of the week or beginning of next week whenever they update FinTel. So, guys, absolutely unacceptable, and I could go on for hours, but I'm not going to bore you with that because I've already done it today. Just so you know. Here's where there's a little bit of a discrepancy. So, as of this morning, and thank you, Z-Ghost, for giving us the AVCT Ortex update, the utilization is 95.91%, guys, and the cost to borrow is showing at 23.09%. Now, the free float short interest is 52.74%, according to Ortex, right? Now, even if they added another 5 million shares to that, guys, it wouldn't change it very much, right? It would change it slightly, maybe down to 40-something%, but not too much. But wait till I show you what FinTel is now showing, and we're going to get into a little discussion on that. So, the percentage of the free float on loan is 12.85%, guys, or 3.4 million shares. Again, that's going to be slightly less now that you have to add those 5 million shares that were issued into the picture, because I doubt that Ortex has updated this. But it appears FinTel has, but comes up with a new number, which I find kind of insulting to our intelligence, because they're trying to tell us that the short interest is only 4.57%. Guys, there is no way in this world, I believe, the short interest is 4.57%. And based on the decreased volume, that would take 1.49 days to cover. I'm sorry, but I'm going to call BS, because even if you add those 5 million shares to the float, it does not go from 50, what did I just say, 52, 54? 52.74% down to 4.57%. Absolutely, positively not. Guys, I don't know where they're hiding it. The only thing I can think is that it has something to do with hiding them, swapping them maybe with failure to delivers. I honestly don't have an answer for this, but I know it's 100% wrong, and I don't believe this no matter what you want to tell me. I don't believe this for one single second. They're still showing that there's 100,000 shares available to short. And guys, again, the cost to borrow pretty much matches what Ortex had earlier, between 22.7 and 23.75%. And check out the short volume ratio. Now, this is just the short volume that's being done in the dark pool. It was 49.85% today. And again, remember, 80% of all shares today were done in the dark pool. And half of those essentially were shorted. Crazy. The average has been right around that range, anywhere between 46.57 and 55.47 for the short volume ratio. Guys, this means that they can essentially control the price. And a lot of people have been asking, and this was a discussion on this space call this afternoon, regarding why the stock is pretty much trading in a barcode pattern and flat. And 100% the reason for that is because we're not in control of the price action. Once again today, inflow was much greater than the outflow, and yet the price went down a couple cents, right? It makes 0 sense. It doesn't add up, and this is complete manipulation and BS. I don't care how you want to cut it. I'm going to call a spade, and this is how they cheat. It is not right, and unfortunately, guys, all we can do is just trade it the way that they are. What are they doing right now? Why are they doing this? Because, guys, they need to accumulate to cover for the failure to delivers, right? Because they know that likely if this news breaks, which God knows that they're going to let it, So please smack that like button and help spread the word. Share this or whatever on social media. I greatly appreciate it. We need to get the word out that AVCT is in NASDAQ compliance for that minimum bid and that offering is closed. And they can't do any more offerings because, guys, we essentially have now less than 45 days to try to run this without those 10 million warrants coming into play and diluting it further, right? So I don't know about you, but I sure would like to get this thing going in the next 45 days because we have an opportunity here and people need to be aware of it. Now, oh shoot, I cut off the 20th. Well, my apologies, but it doesn't really matter, guys, the FTDs, because as you can see down on the 23rd, it went to 1,501. So essentially that means they covered until they started building them up again. And this is what I mean about they're just kicking the can down the road further, perhaps because they knew they were going to get these 5 million shares. I don't know, because then look, 2,759,000, and suddenly that goes down the following day to 168,000, and then 257, then 90,000. See what they do? They swap it out and they keep making the price lower and lower where they're buying them back. Now, remember, this is before we even had the reverse split. So I'm interested to see, which I don't think we're going to get that information till some point next week, what it tells us as far as FTDs go, because that's when things should get really interesting. Because I know after that reverse split, they continued to short this. And there's no way that short interest went from 250% to 54% to 4%. I'm going to call total BS once again, guys. I don't buy it for a minute. So take these facts with a grain of salt because I think that they're crazy. And I really, really think that this thing's going to run and run hard when it does. So hang in there. I know it stinks, but like I said, all I'm doing is just accumulating it at these levels. That's all I can do. I'm trading other things so that I can get money and bring it on over and buy more shares. So anyways, guys, that's all I got for you today. I hope that this video was helpful and have a fabulous night.